What's up, fight fans? It's Grease. It's Cage Side Seat, the best MMA talk with the biggest names in the sport from the best seat in the house. And I'm here at Neuroforce One World Headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona with the one, the only Triple C, Henry Cejudo, UFC Bantamweight Champion. I still say UFC Flyweight Champion. You do too, Henry. Also Olympic gold medalist, combat sports legend, and someone I've known, man, for 10 years now. But it's crazy sitting here with you. You're getting ready for UFC 249, a little over a week away, actually exactly a week away, with Dominick Cruz. Another GOAT in your way, another legend in your path, and getting back in the cage coming up here in a week.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Thank you for having me. I'm honored. Obviously, my opponent changed from Jose Aldo to Dominick Cruz, but it's, you know, the mission doesn't change. The mission is to go out there and get the job done. I've had an amazing camp these last 8 weeks. There's a process that was set in place with Neuroforce One, and I'm excited. I'm excited to fight May 9th.
Yeah, and it's right around the corner now. And here you are at Neuroforce One. You've been with them for several fights now, but you know, I've known you a long time, and I knew you before you started training MMA. I met you at one of Joel Lopez's MMA events when he brought you up in the cage and let the crowd, you know, acknowledge you for winning the Olympic gold medal, being an Arizona guy. But seeing you train and fighting for guys like Tom Ortiz, coming in as a bantamweight, and watching you in the gold trunks and making your way to the UFC, obviously a guy like you, no one was going to be able to mess with you too much on your way up. I mean, on the local levels, you were going to smash everyone. You get to the UFC, you're winning every fight. Mighty Mouse Johnson's the guy at the top, and he was a legendary champion, right? I want to talk about your path in the UFC, the number of fights that it took, but the lessons that you learned along the way that helped you become an even greater champion. Because you were already a champion coming in, but to become an MMA champion as opposed to a wrestling champion, what was the biggest thing that happened for you there?
A lot of it, I guess I'd say, you know, humble experiences. Like I walked, yeah. Obviously, I came into the sport as an Olympic champion. You just imagine the pressure of all that. You know, the expectations that
you're supposed to beat everyone.
Yeah, that people have all that, and I was. You know, I went 10-0. I fought for the title with Demetrius Johnson, and finally came down crumbling. And to me, it was an eye opener. You know, to be able to see what somebody can do to you with every limb of their body. I mean, Demetrius Johnson took me out in 2 minutes and 36 seconds. I mean, something crazy. And I, as much as I respected Demetrius Johnson, I've always respected my skills a lot more. But I think that day it changed a little bit. I was like, hey, I met my match. You know, he's white, I'm black. I'm black, he's white. Like completely, like, this is my rival. Like I knew, like if Michael Jordan was to pick somebody, it'd probably be LeBron James or Kobe Bryant that he had to compete against. And to me, that was my Michael Jordan that I had to get through. So a lot of humbling experiences that happen in mixed martial arts, but it's also a lot of things that I think sports, like the sport of wrestling, has taught me in general. And you know, I'm here because of that. You know, I'm here because of the chips on my shoulders, because of, you know, losing to Demetrius Johnson, and then my next fight losing to Benavidez, and then coming.
Well, you didn't really lose that one. That was some serious bullshit.
Yeah, but you know, but it's still on your record, and you still have to. So what happened after that? I can tell you what happened after that. I was like, man, I went on a mission. I traveled the world.
You can't lose again after that.
I just can't, man. I was like, yeah, I'm at the point where you lose 2 in a row. You know, I lost to the #1 contender, and I lost to probably the greatest of all time. Just like, well, you know, the UFC, they cut people with 2 losses. And but what I did, I just made a complete transformation. So even when I lost to Demetrius Johnson the first time, I knew that my belief never left me. My belief, my confidence, even though I was knocked out, even though I couldn't sleep for a while because of the pain and how it hit me to the body, the mission, the goal, the light, it never left me, Jim. And I think I owe credit to you know, to my coaches, but honestly, like soul searching and knowing that if you can do something great, like win the Olympic gold medals, like what is Demetrius Johnson?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, I took a lot of experiences that I had in wrestling, and I just, because even in wrestling, man, you go through bumps and bruises. I mean, you can lose every weekend. And that's typically what happens because it's such a developed sport. It's such a hard sport. But I took all those experiences that I had, and I just I put it into the sport of mixed martial arts, man, the blueprint. So, and here I am today as a Triple C, as the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world.
Anyone who watches your stuff, Henry Cejudo, on Instagram and Twitter, everyone knows you don't lack confidence. But after those 2 fights you were just talking about, there had to have been a moment where you, I don't want to say doubted yourself, but where you really needed that confidence to get you by and that ultimate belief in yourself, because it gets tested. And no matter who you are on this earth, you get humbled at some point. No matter who you are, even you, you were humbled, right? So in your deepest, darkest moments, was it hard for you to keep that confidence, and what did you do to keep it going?
Yeah, I honestly, Jim, sometimes I feel like it's a gift, man. Sometimes I feel like since I was a kid, I knew that I'd be special. I knew that everything that I put my mind to, that I could accomplish. And I mean it, man. I'm a son of immigrants. I was born, raised by a single mother, one of 7 kids. But I was taught, I was given a lot when it came to life experiences. I never got Christmas toys, I never celebrated birthdays, and never even really had dogs. And people don't know that side of the Triple C. A guy that grew up on on the west side of Phoenix. But what that taught me was, it taught me experiences. It taught me that, hey, you can come from nowhere and become something. I've just been and I'm just an example of that. So my confidence was tested since I was a kid, if you want me to tell you. Going through hunger as a 8-year-old kid, and not having anything to eat, not having air conditioning in Maryville. I mean, that's when you're truly tested, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. So I've experienced a lot of that stuff, and I've been able to come out of that. Like, if I'm not dead, I'm marching forward.
That's unbelievable. I mean, what's a loss in the cage compared to being hungry as a kid, and your mom such a force in your life? And Henry, as you keep climbing the ladder, those 2 losses, you talked about the motivation, you talked about possibly thinking about being cut, then you come back and you beat Pettis and you get the rematch against Mighty Mouse. And I look at that rematch as a huge point in your life, because not only did you beat Mighty Mouse in a war of attrition over a full fight, not only did you overcome an ankle injury to do it, you avenged your loss, but you started a run like we haven't seen much of in combat sports. Very few fighters have been able to accomplish what you accomplished. It started in that fight. And I guess once you beat Mighty Mouse and avenged that loss, what's beating TJ Dillashaw, who was top 3 in the world in everybody's book at that point, and he was on performance-enhancing drugs? What about Marlon Moraes, who had just crushed everyone in the bantamweight division? You move up and fight him, and you outlast him in another battle of wills. It's like your willpower is so strong, and your refusal to lose is just something that drives you so hard that no one can match that.
Yeah, again, man, it's a gift, man. It's the experiences that's been taught through me. But I've also, even after I beat Demetrius Johnson, I knew that the flyweight division was on the chopping block. Mm-hmm. And I met with Dana personally in his Ferrari. We went back home, and he told me, like, hey, we're thinking about cutting the division. I'm just like, what? So it became my duty, became my job to become a persona, to be that entertainment for the world, and to save 57 jobs. So TJ happened to be that roadblock that was in front of me.
Came in the snake pit.
It came, yeah. So I had to do it, man. So a lot of people that don't know, that don't like me, like, you guys have no idea how much I have helped the sport.
Man, when you came out with that snake and the crown, I'm like, oh wait, something new's happening here. Like, this is next level marketing, and I've known you a long time. People don't underestimate. This is a smart dude. Like, this is not a stupid person doing stupid stuff on social media for your amusement. This is all by design, man. So how did the Triple C
don't make me break character.
The moniker, man. Where did that whole thing come from? How did you come up with this?
Well, honestly, a lot of it is me. A lot of it is me. I'm just kind of amplifying it. I'm just picking up the volume on it, like literally turning it up a notch. That's really what it is, man. Because I am a confident person. I do believe that anything that comes up here, that I can manifest it through my actions. So it's just being me, man. If somebody takes me out something, dude, that's a bad dude. That's a smart dude. I will respect that person, but man, try to do it now, man. With everything that I have, with all the weapons, I'm out on a rampage, man. I'm out here to cement my legacy for the next 150 years.
And make some money in the process. And I always tell people, because I'm in my 40s, like, Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady. Triple C is Slim Shady. Maybe not quite as bad as Slim Shady, but it's like an alter ego, but it's a part of you. So you get to have fun with it and let that part of your personality out all the way, and just let it fly, man. A lot of people don't have the guts to do that.
No. And that's exactly what it is, Jim. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Like, man, I don't like him, but I get what he's doing, but I don't have it. I'm not gutsy to do it. And I've always been like that, Jim. I've always been the guy that, hey, throw me the Hail Mary, dude. The game's on the line. Just throw it to me, man. I'm not afraid to lose, man. Like, I'll do everything that I can to win. At the same time, elevating my sport. So, the persona is, look at what I've done to the division. I saved the entire division. Like, people are talking about the bantamweight division. Like, it's entertaining. Like, you don't have to be a light heavyweight to make money. I'm a living proof of that.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is a perfect segue, because beating Dillashaw, beating Marlon, who didn't have a big name. TJ at the time was really at the top of the sport, but not a big money maker. And, guys coming up, and we'll get to them in a minute, like Jan and like Sandhagen and Aljamain, they all want a shot at you because they feel like they're the top guys, but they're not the guys who are going to make you any money. And you're a guy who's worked hard to get where you are, but you haven't made that huge money. There's no Conor McGregor money right now in that division. So to call out guys like Aldo and now Dominick Cruz, these are the guys who are the bigger names, and they're legends. So for anyone to say that they don't deserve a title shot, maybe right now there are guys ahead of them performance-wise, but anyone who says Dominick Cruz or Jose Aldo don't deserve a title shot is not paying attention to what's going on in this sport.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. And what you do, too, is you build storylines. Like, you have to understand the entertainment side of it. I knocked out the number one contender. The next person after that, the number one contender, Marlon Moraes, knocked out Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody deserves it in reality. I get a chance to pick, and I get a chance to choose.
Yeah.
Because I've earned that. I've earned that right. 2 belts, an Olympic gold medal. You think Dana White's fighting me? He's like, Henry, what do you want? Who do you want? I want that guy right there.
He's a promoter. He wants the money fight too.
He gets it. And if people don't get it, if you're watching this and you don't get the entertainment aspect of it, that's shame on you. And that means people want, but they're not willing to give. And that's exactly what the Triple C is doing. You may not like me, but I bet you sure respect me.
Well, you beat the guy who was the best bantamweight in the world and arguably of all time in Dillashaw, even though he came down to 25. You beat the guy who cleaned out the division completely. Now, the guy who most people think is the greatest bantamweight of all time, and the injuries got in his way, but Dominick Cruz is the first name you hear. So now you get a chance to complete that trifecta and beat the other 3 greatest bantamweights of all time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know Dominick. I know Dominick's a competitor. It's not going to be an easy fight for me. And I respect every opponent, whether it's Dominick or Dominique or Valentina Shevchenko. I respect everybody that gets into that octagon, and I'm out there laser focused, man. And I will make adjustments. I will do everything accordingly. And that's just what I do best, Jim. I know how to compete. I know when to turn on the switch. I know how to fight, and I know how to compete. And I think that's what makes me dangerous.
What does Cruz bring to the table that you're most impressed by, or that you might have to overcome the most? I know he's a champion. He's smart. He's definitely as competitive a fighter as you've ever faced. He loves to win as much as you do.
Yeah, I think he's just different. I think that's what he brings to the table, his movement, the fact that but there's also a lot of air too, and I've seen that, and I've nitpicked that we've analyzed him, and there's certain game plans that are set in places for guys like that. So you have to be smart, man. You have to be holding 5 aces, because anything could happen in the sport of mixed martial arts, and I know that. So I don't want you guys to feel or think that I'm just a dude that's just out there, I could beat everybody, which I believe I can.
Yeah.
But we're human.
Mm-hmm.
John Jones, Michael Jordan lost, basketball games.
He lost a lot before he won.
Yeah.
He had his version of Mighty Mouse was the Bad Boy Pistons, and then when he overcame them and went on that run, that's what you're on right now. But I also think anyone who thinks that Dominick Cruz and Jose Aldo are you handpicking easy opponents, that's not. He's picking opponents he can make money with and all-time great fighters to have on his resume, to have on your resume, man, that you beat every one of those guys. That's just as important, because Aldo's one of the greatest of all time. Cruz is one of the greatest of all time. Jan and Sandhagen and Sterling are not on anybody's list of greatest of all time.
Exactly, and those guys, they have to earn their right. I don't feel like just because you beat, no, and again, even with me, nothing against them either. There's not a clear-cut number one contender who gets the Triple C next. There isn't.
But just your resume, to have those GOATs on your you talk about it in joking, but what's more impressive when you're retired, that you beat Cruz and Aldo or Sandhagen and Jan, right?
Exactly, man. I'm on a legend rampage, so they could, line them all up. Eventually they will all get it, and they will all understand why I'm in the position that I'm in, and they will be grateful for the fact that I did give them an opportunity.
So adding those names to the list, Aldo and Cruz, would be great, right? Obviously you want to keep that belt, but your legacy is already cemented in combat sports. You say it all the time, the greatest, the gold medalist, the two-division champion. What can you do to add to that, and what do you want it to be when you leave that podium and leave that gold belt and that gold medal up there when you wrap it up?
Yeah, my thing was to just get these guys, to help the sport, to elevate the little guys to the next level. Give opportunities for the weight classes that were struggling because of lack of entertainment. Let people be who they are, man. Let them have fun with this game. Like, believe it or not, like, even with this persona, I have fun, Jim.
Yeah,
I really do, man. I enjoy what I do. I like the rush of it. I like the slamming of the snakes, because now I gotta walk the talk, and I enjoy that side of it. I enjoy the fact that now I gotta do it. Now I gotta man up to my words. So I think, if anything, man, it's okay to be different. Like, be who you are. Be you. And I guarantee you'll be more successful.
And you have a lot of people. I see you, cutting videos and promos. You were doing with Ali the other day, sending them to high school kids, giving them advice, helping motivate young kids. And I know that's important to you also. But as you stand here atop the UFC, and you are atop the UFC, you're right there at the top with very select fighters now or all time. What would you say to people who are out there struggling, maybe, or maybe they're not struggling, but they just want to chase those dreams, and maybe they'll never be Triple C, and maybe they'll never be a gold medalist? The odds are they won't be anything close to that or a two-division champ. But to become the greatest that they can be in their lives, what do you say to them, the people who look up to you?
Yeah, listen to your gifts. A lot of the reason why you do become successful is because of your abilities. I love basketball. I do. Would I be in the NBA? Probably not.
Spud Webb, no.
No, but it's just the ability was just never there, and I knew that I was made to be a fighter, through nature and nurture, and sometimes you got to listen to a lot of these things. So a lot of the things that you're supposed to do, or that if you want to be great at it, is listening to your ability. When your ability is able to mesh with your heart, that's when the 1% of the 1% of the 1%er comes in. What is your heart? Your heart is your passion, your will, your desire, something that you want to suffer for in order to obtain. So that's your heart. And then, and then obviously your ability. What is your ability? Something that's God-given, or something that you've had since you're a little kid, or something that you just developed through over time that you become extremely good at it. It became a gift. So when you're able to maintain your heart and your ability, and they're able to mesh, like that's Olympic championship stuff, that's UFC championship stuff. But until you understand that, until you understand that your heart has to match your ability, it has to be equal 50-50, that's when things start to get dangerous.
Man, we can't top that, but I do have to ask you, it's been a tough camp. Things have been all over the place. We have a little less than a minute left, man, but just no matter what, you stayed focused. COVID, shutdowns, park workouts, injuries, laser focused on Dominick Cruz. Make no mistake about that focus that you have coming into this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'm focused. I respect Dominick's skill, but I also respect mine just a little tab, actually a lot more. So that's just it, man. Anything can happen, but you're gonna have to kill me, tap me out, or do something. But if you don't do that, man, you're in trouble.
All right, Henry Cejudo, Triple C, UFC 249, Dominick Cruz. Look at this guy right here. Henry, I want to tell you, man, thank you so much. I've known you 10 years. Henry, I want to tell you, man, I've known you 10 years. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I appreciate you taking the time. Now, this is a big deal to have you in here before you leave for the fight. I can't thank you enough, bro, for the things that you've done for me in my career, and I appreciate you.
No, thank you, Jim, and best of luck, man. I hope to see you in the big leagues, you know, in the highest platforms for mixed martial arts, man. You're on your way.
Thank you, Henry Cejudo, Triple C, the greatest of all time.